Hello. In this MIPS assembly video, we're going to be going over memory mapped I/O using the Mars simulator. So we're going to go over how to demonstrate the mapping of peripherals to memory clearly and practically. If you find these types of videos informative, please give them a like, comment with any questions or future video ideas, and subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on to never miss a future video. So the goal of this video is to show that specific memory addresses are used to interact with I/O devices, or peripherals. For example, reading a keyboard input or displaying a character to the console, just by reading or writing to those addresses. In MIPS and in Mars, peripherals are memory mapped, meaning that each I/O device, like a keyboard, display, or timer, has specific memory addresses reserved for it. The CPU uses load and store instructions to read and write to those addresses as if they were normal memory. So some examples would be writing a character to the Display MMIO register automatically to show it on screen, and reading from the Keyboard MMIO register gets most recent key pressed. So before we actually get into our example program, let's go through the common Mars MMIO addresses. So the first one here is the keyboard control, and that address is hex FFFF0000. So again, that is the keyboard control address. And the purpose of it is to show a status. So if it's 0, then that means no key, and then 1, a status of 1, means that a key is pressed. The second address is 0xFFFF0004, and that is the keyboard data address. And the purpose of this is to simply store the ASCII value of the key that is pressed. The next address is 0xFFFF0008, and that is the display control address. And the purpose of this is it's a ready bit. So a value of 1 means that it's ready to print. And then finally, the final one is the display data address, which is 0xFFFF000C, or Charlie. And the purpose of this is to show the ASCII value to display. So now that we have a good understanding of that, let's get into our example program. So this program is going to wait for a key press and immediately display that character using MMIO registers. So the first thing we're going to define here is the data. And then inside the data, first we're going to do our new line. And this is an ASCII Z value. And specifically, the value is the new line character. Now that we have the data, we can get into the text. And then we're going to put our main label. And then first, we're going to wait for a key to be pressed. So we're going to use another label called wait key. And then inside wait key, first thing we're going to do is load the keyboard control register. So we do that with the load word instruction. We're going to use temporary register T0, and then we're going to pass in our keyboard control register and then with the 0 register. So again, what we're doing here is loading the keyboard control register. Next thing we need to do is to see if a key is available. So we're going to do that with a bitwise and immediate. We're going to use our temporary variable register T0, and then we're going to and that with hex 001. Because again, it's we're seeing if a key has been pressed. So again, we're going to check to see if a key is available. Next thing we're going to do is if that's not the case, we're going to keep waiting. So we're going to use a branch if equal instruction. And we're going to use our temporary variable T0 along with our 0 register. And then we're going to branch back up to our wait key label. So again, if a key is not available, we repeat the loop. But otherwise, if there is a key, we're going to load. We're going to read the key value. So we're going to use the load word instruction, and then we're going to use another temporary variable T1, and then we're going to pass in our keyboard data address. So again, we're going to read the ASCII value of the key pressed. So at this point, we're going to wait to see if a display is ready. And then we're going to handle the wait display part in under a separate function or procedure or label. So we're going to call this wait display. First thing we're going to do is we're actually going to load the display control register, similar to what we did on line 13, and we're going to load that into temporary register T2. So again, our display control. Loading, again, we're going to loading the keyboard, I'm sorry, the display control register. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the display is ready, similar to what we did on line 14. So again, we're going to use an AND immediate. We're going to assign T2. We're going to AND, we're going to AND, bitwise AND register T2 with 1. So again, we're checking to see if display is ready. And then if it's not ready, we're going to wait. So again, we're going to do a similar branch to equal T2. So again, if T2 is at this point, if it's 0, we can go back up to wait display. So again, if display is not ready, we repeat the loop. And then finally, we write the key value to the display data register. So we're going to do that with the store word instruction. And then we're going to put T1, because again, that is our ASCII value at this point. And then we're going to write it to the display data address. And then at this point, we can jump back up to wait key. just with a simple jump. Just with a simple jump unconditional, because we want this process to repeat forever. Okay, so now that we have our code together, let us now actually connect our keyboard and display MMIO simulator. So that's under Tools, and then down here, Keyboard and Display MMIO Simulator. So we have to make sure, first of all, we are connecting to MIPS. And then once we're ready, we can go up here and build, and then run. So now that we, on the keyboard here, we can type in characters. Sometimes you have to reset it. As you can see here, I typed A, and then A appeared, B, C, D, and then so on and so forth. So that proves that we're in our code here. We are, after we're displaying the key, we're jumping back up to our wait key sub-procedure there. So if you have any questions involving this topic, feel free to comment below. As well, I'm always looking for video ideas with the subject. So again, if you're struggling with the topic, let me know and I'd be happy to make a video on it. Otherwise, I would appreciate if you would like this video as well and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, thank you for your time.